Hey, Santa, it's me, Johnny. Remember I'm the one that beat you up last year because I thought you were a burglar?
Johnny, hold out your hand.
It's about that time of year again, where big corporations and people like to dress up and share the funny feelings of joy and excitement to the world, and where kids pretend not to be little asses so they could get that PS5. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Christmas. Yes, one of the most known and expensive holidays that grosses over the planet. And I can't lie, it does have a hold on me, but don't worry y'all, spooky month is still my baby till I stop breathing. And like I said in my regular show videos, that Christmas is such a huge thing, even cartoons like to get their hands on that pot. And there are a lot of fan favorite Christmas specials that I will actually wait all year when I was little, but there is a lot that I wouldn't care less about. And out of the big three, I would say Cartoon Network is the MVP when it comes to these specials. And I have to bring up this weird odd beef with Santa Claus. Like, there is a lot of Cartoon Network specials that had beef with Saint Nick, and we didn't bat an eye about it. And that's what I'm gonna be talking about, these Christmas specials that randomly had beef with Saint Nick. And let's find out who started it and why it kept going to this day. So sit back, grab that eggnog, it's time for holiday joy. Wait, before we get started, I wanna say thank you to everyone who watched the homies video. I truly do appreciate the love that video got, and I'm glad to see so many people who all had the same shared memory of collecting them little homies. And seeing more than 100,000 people watched my video is one of the best things I could get, especially for the holiday season. It really grows this beating heart of mine. So from the bottom of me, thank you. But enough of that, it's time for the video. So before we get into these specials, let's talk about the show Johnny Bravo. This is one of the OG shows that was created by Van Portable and produced by Cartoon Network. This show was the second in the network's cartoons lineup after Dexter's Laboratory. It aired in July 14, 1997 till August 27, 2004. In Johnny Bravo, we follow the man himself who lives in Aaron City with his fine mama. And we go through random adventures with Johnny, with him always trying to get some cooch, but always gets turned down or just get his ass beat. Which I could say, when I was younger, I never knew why he was bad with the ladies. It wasn't until I was like 15. Heck, cut me some slack, I was 6. But honestly, this show is kind of like the Cartoon Network's 90s unofficial mascot. Like if you go back, Johnny was used for more promotional stuff, even being a part of the biggest lost media, that being Bravo TV, and was found in early 2024. And I don't blame the popularity. This was my show when I was little. This and Dexter was holding it down for my early years. But I could say the show is a product of its time, and I can see people seeing this being problematic for Johnny harassment of the female gender.
Your constant harassment of the female gender makes me sick.
But it's not like the show isn't self-aware of the character. Like I said, he doesn't get rewarded for his actions, and there was a whole episode where Johnny gets a taste of his own medicine. But how does a show about a grown man whose one joke is to love himself and hits on every lady makes a Christmas special? Well, let's find out.
Hello, friends. You know, over the years, I've learned that Christmas means a lot more than just getting a bunch of toys. It's about people and being together and all the joy that can bring. So that's why this year, Santa, I don't want any toys at all. Maybe you could just give me a peek at your list of babes who've been naughty. The episode is titled "'Twas the Night." And fun fact, this was the first Christmas episode of Cartoon Network's original series that aired as the third segment of the 5th episode of the show's first season, despite being a Christmas episode that had premiered in August 4th, 1997. But the episode starts with their narrator voiced by Adam West, telling the events as if it was a Christmas story. Right before he was gonna go to sleep, Johnny heard a noise on the roof, only for it to be Santa Claus, and Johnny, being an idiot, mistakes him as a burglar and knocks him out. And Jesus, Johnny, I'm glad you didn't have a license to carry. But after realizing who he knocked out and some apologizing, Santa tells Johnny he can't do the deliveries because of his broken arm. So Johnny takes the job, and I want to show off this little Easter egg, seeing the other Hanna-Barbera characters being on the naughty list. But throughout the night, we see Johnny doing Santa's job without any issues. That's until the last person on his list was his mom, and he accidentally gave her a gift to someone else. But for doing a good job, Santa will actually help out Johnny and give his mom a diamond, as she thinks Johnny got it for her. And Santa will leave Johnny a gift
that being some boxing gloves and a note saying round 2 is next year. But unfortunately for Santa, he doesn't know that he's in a cartoon and continuity isn't a thing, or so I thought. So to my shock, Johnny knocking out Santa is canon to the show, because a few seasons later we will get a straight to DVD special, this one having more of a runtime, so we'll be able to get more story than the last one only being 7 minutes. But to sum it up, in this special, Johnny's getting ready for Christmas, like all Christmas specials starts off with, and while his mama asked him to help him around the house, he finds some letters from Santa that he forgot to send, and since it's Christmas Eve, he's finding it hard to get them letters sent to Santa, even being laughed at from the post office. He sets out to hand deliver them to Santa himself, so Johnny stows away in a plane, but after some shenanigans, they find a new pilot to take them to the North Pole, only for them to find the pilot who just got his license that day. And while flying, they find Santa with the help of Donnie, which is a character that got added to the Johnny Bravo lore a little bit later on in a later season. And there we have it. Johnny gets to meet Santa for the second time and brings up him knocking out Santa, with Santa paying him back, completely connecting this into a 2-part. But for being the first original Christmas special, it's interesting they would continue the Santa beef with the other specials. Like, stop me if you heard this one. There's a small super genius child who has a different accent from the rest of his family, tries to pack up Santa. If you thought that was Stewie Griffin, then you're wrong. It's Dexter.
You want a particle accelerator?
Yes, Santa Eustace.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Stupid atom smasher.
You already know, if I'm talking about Santa Claus beats, I gotta mention Dexter vs. Santa, a season 2 episode that falls into the same runtime as Johnny Bravo, with it being a bunch of short episodes in one big episode. The fucking Justice Friends had a longer runtime than this episode alone. And there's the same episode where the crew will make an episode from that tape recording that kid sent out. I'll probably talk about that later on. But in this episode, titled Dexter vs. Santa, very on the nose on that one. Dee Dee is using Dexter's computer to send a letter to Santa, and Dexter, being upset, tells her that Santa doesn't exist in a rap. Oh no. Dexter tells Dee Dee that his mom and his dad dresses up as Santa and one of his reindeer. But the odd part about this is him thinking that his dad pushes the car into the roof so he could randomly fly off. But I get his point. Oh shit, Dexter, I didn't know you had that type of emotion. My fault. So to prove her wrong, Dexter's gonna go catch his dad in the act. And they make Santa more stylized than the rest. Odd choice, even more odd that Santa only says ho ho ho. And I can't be the only one who thinks that's weird, right? But while Santa tries to brush off Dexter away, Dexter tries to fight and pull the beard off and thinking that this is his dad, even find one of Santa's reindeer, and Dexter goes on to have a whole ass sky battle with Santa, trying to shoot him down, which I would say this is super out of character for Dexter, because remember, he thinks this is his mom and his dad, and I get that, but why would you use your tech all out and about? You know, the same tech he hides, kind of the whole point of the show, but whatever. At some point, Dexter does shoot down Santa, making him crash into his house so he could shave him, proving Dee Dee wrong, only to realize that was Santa ruining Christmas again, apparently. This is a shorter episode and there isn't a part 2, but man, Dexter did Santa dirty with that haircut. Couldn't even line him up, but it just ends with his family being mad at him. But if you think these two are the only shows to run it with Santa, apparently even Three Little Girls had some beef with him. But I'll talk more about that after this.
Huh. I didn't even know there was such a thing as Christmas jail.
You must have done something pretty bad to get in there.
Well, I can't possibly think of what I did that was so naughty.
Oh, wait a minute. Remember that time when you...
Yo, y'all remember when they made that reboot? The Powerpuff Girls, one of the OG shows that ran longer than other shows from the OG generations. I think Ed and Eddie is probably one of the number ones, but you can't deny the Powerpuff Girls was gas. From the style to the characters, just it being a staple is cool as hell. And also it being the same universe as Dexter's Lab and the Gorillas is a plus. What was the beef between the perfect little girls and Santa Claus? Well, we'll find that out in this holiday special titled "'Twas the Fight Before Christmas." As you can see, Johnny already took that first one. Honestly, with this Christmas special, I remember watching it a few times back then, so let's see how the little girls handled Santa. The special starts with the students of Townsboro getting ready for Christmas, even Buttercup making a list. But before she can even tell what she really wants, that's when Princess Mobucks tells them that her dad can get her anything that she wants. And if you don't know, Mobucks is one of the Powerpuff Girls villains who's always hating on them because they are the Powerpuff Girls. So what does she want for Christmas? Well, it's to be a Powerpuff Girl. That's kind of a whole thing. But the Powerpuff Girls tells her that she's not getting anything, because she's been naughty for all the past crimes that she has committed. But being a brat, she brushes it off at first, but then she starts asking her butlers and maids if she's naughty, and I can only imagine what it was like working for her. Hell, imagine one of them was a minority. So she sets out to go talk to the man himself, and while she's plotting, we'll get to see how the town is getting ready for the big day, with decoration shots that really give it that Christmas cheer. Even Mojo Jojo celebrates Christmas, but Morbuck sneaks into the North Pole and finds that she's the only person in the whole world who's on the naughty list. But then she switches them both, making her the only person on the nice list. So it's Christmas morning and Bubbles goes to go check if Santa really came by, only to find out not only he did, but he didn't leave no gifts, only coal for her and her family. And this breaks Bubbles, so thinking something isn't right, she checks the whole town, only to find out that everyone got coal. The Powerpuff Girls get confused on why is this happening and try to go ask Santa himself, but only to get stopped by, you guessed it, Princess Morbucks, who pretty much rats herself out. But the Powerpuff Girl chases Morbucks towards the North Pole, and no lie, this chase scene is fire. It really shows the gap of power Morbucks got from Santa. I honestly really enjoyed how they used the environment through this chase scene, from the forest to the ocean, and I'd be forgetting how much power these three little girls got. But eventually they will all make it to the North Pole, destroying pretty much everything, causing Santa to go full dad mode and explaining how disappointing he is at every kid in the world being on the naughty list. The Powerpuff Girl tries to tell him that he's wrong, but he believes Princess Morbucks more, only the fact that she's the only kid on the nice list. And Morbucks was gonna get away with it until she crashed out on Santa for recognizing the Powerpuff Girls for being good. Which, why didn't he question it then? Who knows? But Morbucks crashes out on Santa, and Santa was not having any of it, putting her on the permanently naughty list and taking away her powers. And before Santa go fix what he did, he sees that everything was destroyed. So he asked the Powerpuff Girls to deliver the gifts, and once again the day is saved thanks to these three special little girls. Honestly, rewatching this wasn't too much of beef like Johnny and Dexter had, but still some conflict between them. Can you imagine Santa going up against the Powerpuff Girls in an all-out fight? That would have been cinema. But with everyone having some issues with Saint Nick, you'll be surprised that one show would save Santa. That would be the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. So let's see how this bag of bones saved the day.
Should I tell him?
Nah, it's Christmas.
In the special titled Billy and Mandy Save Christmas, this was a part of their holiday DVD special that will air in Cartoon Network in 2005. The special starts off with Grim, Billy, and Mandy waiting in line at the mall to see Santa. Billy, at first thinking this was the bathroom, gets excited to see the man himself. So he skips the line and sits on Santa's lap, who is played by General Scar from the Even Carnate cast, a character from an older show that used to run back then with Billy and Mandy. While Billy pisses off Scar, Mandy doesn't believe that Santa exists, and after Billy causes a riot in the mall, Grim takes them both to the North Pole to see Santa in person, only to find out that the place is run down and they find Mrs. Claus scared. Grim trying to calm her down, she shows that Santa has become a vampire. No, not him, and apparently is voiced by Gilbert Godfrey. Rest in peace. Mrs. Claus explains that when she came back from chopping wood, she found Santa drinking blood from an elf and kept him locked away ever since. But since Christmas is coming up, she doesn't know what to do. But Mandy explains that if they get rid of the head vampire, Santa should go back to normal. So Mandy and Grim seeks out the head vampire, and Billy stays back with Mrs. Claus. Next we see Mandy and Grim breaking into the head vampire's home to get rid of him, only to find out that he's not the vampire they're looking for. No, not him. He explains that they are looking for the head vampire, and he joins Mandy and Grim to save Christmas. They find a way back to Santa's place, only for them to get trapped by Mrs. Claus because she is the head vampire. While being trapped with the vampire Santa, Mandy distracts him with a song till Grim can get them out. Later we find out why Mrs. Claus turned Santa Claus into a vampire and how they met from back then. She explains how Santa Claus over the years will stop helping around and just being lazy, and she explains how she's going to turn the whole world into vampires. After that, Billy finds Santa's secret study room and finds an emergency vampire kit to turn Santa back to normal, which was a bowl of cookies and a glass of milk. We go back to Grim and Mandy fighting off the elves and Mrs. Claus, but before that, Billy and Santa comes into the room, talks Mrs. Claus out of not turning the world into vampires, saving the day. Like I said, these were my favorite specials to watch as a child, and to go back and watch it, it's hilarious to see the beef that Cartoon Network has had with Santa Claus, and it's still going on, with Regular Show being one of the modern shows that actually has Santa get shot in national television. And I did talk about that last year, but tell me, why do you think this beef is? That's gonna be it for the video, y'all. This might be the last video of the year, and I'm glad to get it out. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me, do you guys open gifts on the 24th of December or the 25th? Let me know in the comments below. And till the next one.
Santa!
Find Santa and set this.
See, Johnny, my arm's broke. Girl, with you.
Jesus, easy.
Rules in the sleigh.
It's not. And what is it about?
The presents.
Peace.